Good morning. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Hudson. My name is Marilyn Orr, President of the club, and we are thrilled to have you join us today. This meeting broadcast is available on HCTV, as well as our Rotary of Hudson YouTube channel and Facebook. Our club meets weekly using this digital platform, Zoom. When we meet in person, it's at Laurel Lake Retirement Community for breakfast. We hope to get back to that soon. We meet most Wednesday mornings from 7:15 to 8:30 a.m. So come out to join us for a meeting. We would love to have you as a guest. To learn more about Rotary, our club, and the impact we are having on our local community and the world, please visit our website, rotaryhudson.org. So enjoy this meeting today and help us share the message that Rotary opens doors of opportunity.
It's good to see the Rotarians, and welcome to anyone else who is watching from home. It's good to see everyone again this morning. Our invocation this morning is by Father Joe Boisel.
Good morning. Will you pray with me? Heavenly Father, in you we live and move and have our being. We humbly pray you so to guide and govern us by your Holy Spirit, that in all the cares and occupations of our life, we may not forget you, but may remember that we are ever walking in your sight. We remember today, especially our brothers Phil and Tom and the entire Tobin family. We also remember the wider circle of friends and all those who grieve. We pray, Lord, that you would surround them with your grace and give them strength to face the days to come. Mostly, Lord, we pray that you would speak to them a word of hope and resurrection and remind them that you have the last word in all things. We lift all these prayers to you this morning through your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Father Joe. And lead us in the pledge and the four-way test this morning, Evan McCauley.
All right, let me stand up here. All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And if you'll join me in the four-way test. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you.
Thank you, Evan. And now our president, Marilyn Orr.
Good morning, Rotarians. I'd like to remind everyone that following today's meeting, our foundation board will be holding a meeting. So please, at the conclusion of this meeting, simply stay on the Zoom line and the Zoom conference, and we will roll directly into that meeting with a probably 2 to 3 minute break to allow people who are not intending to attend to exit. This has been a very difficult year, a hard year, and it got worse recently. I'd like to offer the floor to Phil Tobin at this point so that he can make a few remarks to the club. Good morning.
Start off.
You're ready.
You can start, Tom.
Well, I didn't have anything prepared. I just wanted, this is so helpful for us to be among our friends like this and being able to just enjoy the fellowship of Rotary, good friends. We've been, so many people have reached out to us to offer us some emotional support and anything they can to help us through this, and we really appreciate it. It means the world to us. You just don't know, so thank you so much. And I just want to say, and we were talking about this at the time, we will get through this. We have no doubt about it. We will get through this. It'll be tough, but we're working together, and we're good. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you.
When Tom and I first decided to join Rotary, which goes back to probably 1991 or 1992, we wanted to find a way where we could become acquainted with the people in the community. And we chose to do this. Regis Smith sponsored us, and it meant so much to us to become part of a group of people. But it's been this experience we've had over the years, and most recently this past week, the tremendous amount of support we get. And believe me, that support is so much appreciated between Joan and Tom and I and the rest of the members of our family. You know, it's a tragic thing, but I want to relate to you very quickly something that happened last night that I was just terribly moved by. I got a call. I'm not going to tell you what his name was, but he said, "What's going on in your family is unbelievable." But he said it was a wake-up call to me. He said, "I have a son who is severely depressed. He's a military veteran. He's severely depressed. He has decided not to take his medicine anymore. He's decided not to take his counseling anymore." And he said, the message I got from watching the experiences that you folks are going through is that I have to intervene. And he said, I've called my son and I'm meeting with him today, which is Wednesday. And he said, I'm going to intervene. So I think in essence, the message is that the whole subject of mental illness and depression and suicide is such a devastating thing. But if there's a way where anybody who sees that happening to either a relative or to a friend or anybody, interfere in a way where you're basically taking steps to get that person the help that they really need. Because failure to take it is devastating. But the opportunity to learn from some of the things we're going through here and what went on through our family, this is something that you can.
We hope it can benefit others.
Benefit others, and I just felt so glad that he called me, and I think perhaps maybe he may have taken a positive step. So I feel so good about that. It's a good thing about it. There's a lot of bad things, but that's a good thing about it. And we really appreciate the support of the Rotary people beyond measure. Joan has been sitting with me in the Rotary meetings, usually because she's not fully dressed in all of her glory and everything, for all of these meetings we've been having, and we've just enjoyed this so much, the camaraderie, the friendship, and the support now we're getting from every one of you. Believe me, it is very, very well received and appreciated. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Tom. Phil Warburton, as he was moving to Georgia, often remarked that our Rotary Club is a family. And when members of our family are grieving or hurting or needing comfort or needing prayers, I'd like to remind you again that we are a family and that's what we do. That's just what we do. Depression is a terrible thing, and it's much more pervasive in our society because of some of the stigmas that are present. And it is not a sign of weakness, but it affects many, many families, including my own. So this week, we are starting a focus on Rotary itself. Evan McCauley, would you please unmute yourself and introduce today's speaker?
Absolutely. Thank you, Marilyn. And good morning, fellow Rotarians. It's good to see all your faces. So we have a very special guest with us today, Jim Lechko, and we're going to be talking all about the Rotary Foundation. So, you know, we have our Hudson Rotary Foundation and we have the Rotary International Foundation. So he's going to be focusing on that component of our giving. And Jim's recently retired. He worked in the financial services industry for 45 years. And Jim, welcome to the Club of Financial Advisors. We have quite a handful of folks that are helping people with financial services. So you're very welcome today. Jim retired from a 22-year career with First Federal Lakewood, where he was a certified financial planner, CFP. He managed the investment services department, providing financial planning and retirement planning services to clients. Jim joined the Rotary Club of Lakewood Rocky River in October of 2001 and he held a variety of club positions, including program chair, treasurer, and club president in the 2006-2007 Rotary year. Jim's also been a board member. And that's just at the club level. Jim has served at the district level as the grant committee chair, assistant district governor, and foundation chair. Currently, he serves on the grant committee and is the Paul Harris Society chair. Jim started a new 3-year term as the district foundation chair in July of 2019, and he is married to Sue. They were married on November 15th, 1975. So Jim, congratulations. This year will be your 45th year. That's a pretty big number. And me coming up on just my first year, I have something to aspire to get to that 45-year mark.
Thanks for the reminder. I'll have to put that in.
Yes, I'm sure you've got that in the calendar. Jim and Sue have one daughter, Angela, and Angela is a registered nurse at Southwestern General Hospital. In addition to their daughter, they have a 2-year-old golden retriever. His name is Duke, and he's a rescue dog and a certified therapy dog as well. So one thing that Jim didn't mention in his bio that I found online and I had to share with you guys, back in 2015, 2016, Jim won a Rotary award that can only be awarded once in a Rotarian's lifetime, and it recognizes Rotarians who have demonstrated outstanding active service to the Rotary Foundation for more than 1 year. Jim provided service on foundation committees at the club and district level, as we talked about, participated in foundation grants and programs, supported ambassadorial scholars, Rotary Peace Fellows, group study exchange teams, and vocational training teams. So that award back in 2015, 2016 is the Citation for Meritorious Service. So congratulations on that wonderful Rotary accomplishment, Jim, and thank you for everything that you do for Rotary. And I look forward to your presentation and learning a little bit more about what the Rotary Foundation is doing and how we can all do more to help. Jim Lechko.
Thanks, Evan, and good morning, everybody. I appreciate the invitation. It's a little different on the Zoom meetings here. I kind of missed my my drive across the turnpike from out here in Strongsville, where I would normally be joining all of you, but it allowed me to sleep in a little bit more. The one thing I always notice on these Zoom meetings, I have to apologize for the glow on the top of my head here from my overhead light. One of the drawbacks of the Zoom meetings, I guess it shows my age. I'm excited to be here to talk about the foundation. I'm very passionate about it. I apologize for being here in a t-shirt today, but it's my End Polio Now t-shirt. And the reason I'm wearing that, if you didn't see the announcement from the foundation, the country of Africa was finally declared polio free. There was one country that was just hanging around that we couldn't quite get, and that was Nigeria, and they've been, I think, 3 or 4 years polio free now. So we were able to declare the entire continent of Africa polio free. So that's a huge accomplishment for Rotary. For those of you who may be newer to Rotary, the Rotary Foundation took up the cause of ending polio or eradicating the world from polio back in 1984. We've contributed a lot of dollars and a lot of hours in that effort. Since '84, there's been 2.5 billion children that have been immunized against polio in 122 different countries, and Rotary has contributed almost $2 billion, $1.8 billion in that effort to accomplish this. So as of right now, there's just 2 countries that are still endemic to polio, and that's Pakistan and Afghanistan. And really the reasons that we haven't been able to get those 2 countries polio free is a combination of political and social and religious issues that just we haven't been able to get in and immunize all of the children there. So that it's a continual effort. Rotary has estimated that if we give up the effort, if we just stop now and don't continue the effort to totally eradicate the world from polio, in 10 years, we could be back to having around 200,000 children a year coming down with polio again. When we started the effort, there was about 300,000 children a year that were inflicted with polio. Again, we've eliminated 99.9% of polio from the world, but if we just stop now and give up our efforts, we'd be in a bad situation again 10 years from now. So if you're contributing to the Polio Plus effort, thanks so much for what you've done. If you haven't yet, please consider supporting the Polio Plus effort. So again, that's from a current event standpoint, that's an exciting thing. Other current events to talk about, Rotary also announced recently that we're going to take up a 7th area of focus, which is going to be supporting the environment. I know there are some clubs and districts that have already started, some projects. In our district, the Manaway Club recently they're in the process of doing a project in their local community. And I think you can find that in the District Connections newsletter that just came out. I think there's an article in there about that. So there will be more information to come, on that specific area of focus. It officially starts next year, but again, clubs are already involved with that process. Excuse me. Another current event with the whole COVID-19 pandemic situation, the Rotary Foundation has a disaster response fund, which is used for a variety of things around the world, but they recently made disaster response grants available to the districts that were interested. And each district could apply for a district response grant and get up to $25,000 for a COVID-19 project. So our district, talked about that. We applied for the grant. We initially did not receive it because there wasn't enough money. We were too late in getting our application in. So they put us on a waiting list. A couple weeks later, the Disaster Response Fund came up with some additional funding, so our grant did get approved. And basically what we did, we surveyed the district and asked clubs that had connections at their local hospitals to reach out to their contact there and find out what their needs are. And we found that the common thread between all of the hospitals that responded were hospital gowns. Is what they needed. So we submitted a grant request to purchase, in the end, what is going to be as level 2 hospital gowns, which can be used anywhere in the hospital with the exception of the surgical rooms, the operating rooms. So we are in the process right now working with a supplier in Stowe, and we're hoping to be able to provide around 1,100 or 1,200 hospital gowns to 7 different hospitals. So again, we're around 7,700 or around 8,000 hospital gowns that will be distributed between these hospitals. And the hospitals that are participating are Akron Children's Hospital, the Cleveland Clinic, Southwest General, UH Bedford Medical Center, UH Geauga, Western Reserve Hospital, and Ashtabula Medical Center. I think it's a clinic thing, Cleveland Clinic facility. But I believe Western Reserve Hospital is right in your backyard there, right? So I know Rick Pollock was the one who got our connection there. So it's kind of exciting that we were able to participate in that at the district level. And again, we're looking forward to being able to deliver those gowns to the hospitals, and we'll let you know as soon as that happens. So those are the current event type of things that are going on. Now I'm going to see if I can share my screen here. This is always a challenge for me being an older folk. Not always.
You should be able to. There we go.
Got it. Okay.
It's starting to come up.
Okay.
You got it.
Okay, here we go. So the Rotary Foundation, again, it was founded over 100 years ago now, with the whole purpose of doing good in the world. Over the years, we've grown to focus on these 6 areas where we can help people throughout the world. And again, I mentioned next year we'll be adding a 7th area of focus. But with promoting peace, we have 7 different locations around the world where applicants can apply to attend a university to achieve a master's degree or a certificate. There's two different programs in peace and conflict prevention. Our district actually, on an annual basis, participates by sponsoring Peace Fellows. And the way that works is, these applicants from around the world will apply for a scholarship. A district needs to sponsor them, so that we will be provided with the names and contact information for these people. And we will basically do Skyping with these people because they're usually in Africa or in the Middle East or in Europe somewhere. We've had a few applicants from the United States, or even 1 or 2 from here locally, where we'll do an in-person interview. But we'll Skype with people from around the world. And these are people who have already been, they're young adults, they're active in their careers. Most of them are, in government or some nonprofit or non-government organization that is related to peace and conflict prevention. And these people are amazing, though, to look at their resumes. I mean, a lot of them have accomplished more in their short careers than I could ever even imagine doing. So we'll do the interviews. We'll determine if they're, we think they're eligible or not for the program. And if so, we'll approve their sponsorship. And then they have to wait to hear from the Rotary Foundation if they're chosen to be one of the scholarship recipients. But it's an amazing opportunity for these people. A lot of them go on, once they've achieved this master's degree, you'll find them working at the United Nations or, back home. They become leaders in their community, political leaders or leaders of other organizations that are trying to better their communities. A lot of them are living in situations where, they're in a country where there's civil wars going on and living in real bad situations. So it really helps out. Fighting disease, again, polio is our main effort right now, but as that's not the only thing, the only disease that we fight. There's a lot of global projects and even local projects around the world that take place to help fight different types of diseases. Clean water and sanitation is huge. There's still millions of young children that die every year due to the lack of clean water. So that's a continuing effort. Maternal health care for mothers and children, basic literacy and education has been an effort for a long time. I know our club still does a dictionary project. I know there's a lot of clubs both locally and around the world that still do that. But there's a lot of global projects too that support education from everything from building schools to providing all of the supplies and textbooks necessary for education, building like laboratories for biology and chemistry classes and things like that. So, and then growing local economies. A lot of efforts teaching women, to be entrepreneurs and starting their own little businesses and providing microfinancing for people too. So those are the areas of focus, that we are looking at. But why choose the Rotary Foundation? And I probably went through some of this last year when I was out to visit your club, but it's always as a good reminder. The Rotary Foundation has received the top rating from Charity Navigator for like 12 years in a row now. So they review our financials. They look at, expenses, what the money is used for. We can consistently get that top rating, and it's not just a top rating, but we receive a score of 100 on there, which is pretty unusual for most charities. The last 2 years, we were recognized as the world's outstanding foundation. by the organization of, I forget the name of it now, I apologize. But it's the organization that represents all the charities around the world. Again, 100 years, over 100 years old now. We had a great celebration here about 5 years ago in Cleveland to celebrate that event. But why, again, why contribute other than the fact that, you know, you can be confident that your money is being used. Again, over 90% of the money gets used for programs. But the Rotary Foundation is one of the few foundation or charities that you give to where they actually let you decide how to use the money, and you can even use it for your own project. So when we contribute money to the annual fund at the Rotary Foundation, they keep the money for 3 years, they invest it, they use the earnings to cover expenses and things. But then 3 years later, we get 50% of that money back in what's known as district designated funds. And our district typically has been contributing about $200,000 to the annual fund. So we get about $100,000 back. And out of that $100,000, we can designate up to 50% of it for local projects, and the other 50% would go towards global projects. So we're in a situation now where we're actually getting more requests for district grants than that $50,000 can fund. So we're in a situation where we need to increase our contributions to the annual fund so that we can cover all of the requests that are coming in from the district right now. The other 50% that they don't send back to us goes into the World Fund. And that's the money that is used by the Rotary Foundation as matching money for global projects. So if your club decided to do a global project, they could get matching money both from our district designated funds as well as the World Fund. But again, one of the unique things about our foundation is that, we decide, we can choose the projects that we want to do and get money back from the foundation to fund those projects. There's a lot of good charities around the world, and but what you're not able to do there is tell them how to use the money. You assume they're using the money for the intended purposes, but even there, a lot of times the amount of money that actually goes to the programs is a lot less than what you're seeing here in the Rotary Foundation. So again, our foundation is very well managed. This is an example of a global grant. So, a club would need to come up with about $10,000, and it could be one club or a group of clubs that does a project. Our district designated funds would match that $10,000, and the World Fund would match the district funds $10,000. So your $10,000 can turn into a $30,000 project. Now this is from a year or two ago, but there were 503 district grants. That means there were 503 districts around the world that applied for that DDF, the district designated fund, so that they could provide money for both local and global projects. There were over 1,300 global grants given, 63 polio grants, 94 Peace Fellows. And again, we probably sponsored a couple of those. And through that all, countless lives changed because of the great things that the Rotary Foundation does. This is an example from a couple years ago of a global grant where a group of clubs, I think about almost all of the clubs around the district contributed to this. This was initiated by the Interact clubs to do a project to support a literacy project back down in the Caribbean after one of the hurricanes hit. And so they came up with $32,817. So the district matched that, and then we had World Fund matching. So, that $32,000 turned into $115,000 for a global project. So, again, with the foundation matching money, you can do some great things. The local grants, we will provide matching dollars for local projects, anywhere from $500 to $3,500. So in this current Rotary year, we have 20 clubs that applied for grants. We were able to provide $57,476 in DDF money, matching money for those projects. And the total project amounts are almost $128,000, and again, benefiting our local community. So having that matching money available, can double the size of your project and really help you do some great things in your local communities. So let's talk a little bit about recognition. As Rotarians contribute to the foundation, they're recognized by becoming a Paul Harris Fellow, and that is achieved by each $1,000 in contributions. So a Paul Harris Fellow is someone who achieved, who contributed $1,000, and then you can get a +1 at your next $1,000, and then +2, +3, and so on. So you get these sapphires for each additional Paul Harris Fellow. When you get to Paul Harris Fellow +6, now you get a ruby, +7, and +8. And then, when you get to Paul Harris +9, that would be $10,000. And that's where you would become a major donor, and you'd have a little diamond in your pin there. There's also club recognition. So we have 100% Foundation Giving Club. That's where you have 100% participation in your club, and they average $100. So everybody doesn't have to give $100, but the average club giving is $100. Every Rotarian Every Year Club, again, $100 per capita and 100% participation. Paul Harris Society Club. This is where every club member is a member of the Paul Harris Society, and the Paul Harris Society are Rotarians who have agreed to give $1,000 per year to the foundation as long as they're able to. It's not a legal obligation. It's basically a commitment that as long as you're able to, you're going to be giving $1,000 to the foundation each year. Down here, the #1 club in the district, the Rotary Foundation recognizes the top 3 clubs in the district in foundation giving each year. And then we have a 100% Paul Harris Fellow Club. And that is like on a specific day when the district governor recognizes the club, everybody in the club is a Paul Harris Fellow at that point in time. So these are the ways that your club can receive recognition banners from the foundation. So again, the Paul Harris Society, I mentioned these are Rotarians who have committed to give $1,000 per year. The Paul Harris Society makes up 16% of annual fund foundations. And the gifts of $1,000 or more make up 44% of all annual fund contributions. So the point here is that I know in our district, we have 68 Paul Harris Society members. So that's at least $68,000 a year in contributions to the annual fund. And again, our total district contributions are about $200,000. So we have about 3% of our Rotarians in the district contributing, almost about a third of our total contribution. So the Paul Harris Society members are extremely important, not only to our district, but to the foundation overall. Giving through Rotary Direct. I know Evan asked me to talk about this a little bit, and let me find, here we go. So Rotary Direct is a great way to support the foundation. Basically, you're going to authorize the foundation to charge your credit card, and I believe, there we go. So yeah, it's a credit card authorization. I started doing this the year that I became president, when I really truly realized all the great things that the foundation does. So I started doing $25 a quarter so I could become a sustaining member of the foundation at $100 a year. And as I was able to, I gradually increased that, where now, I'm as a member of the Paul Harris Society, I'm doing $85 a month, which gets me to the $1,000 level. And I split that up. I can do $50 towards the annual fund and $35 towards polio. Both are eligible for Paul Harris Fellow credit. So I'm able to support both of those programs and achieve the Paul Harris Society level of giving. Now let me go to another. Let me see if I can get to the internet. So Evan had asked me to talk a little bit about the club recognition summary. And so as you make contributions, to the, all right, this is not going to let me do this, to the foundation, you earn points towards a Paul Harris Fellow for yourself. Let me find it. Okay. But as you do that, you also earn points that you can give away. So in addition to you achieving your own Paul Harris Fellow, you're able to give points away to other people to recognize either other Rotarians for service, that they've done where, you think they would deserve to become a Paul Harris Fellow or achieve the next level of Paul Harris Fellowship. Or you could recognize a member in the community. But let me just bring up a report here. I'm not actually going to bring up the recognition summary because that provides personal contribution information for each of the individual members. So I don't want to do that, but I want to show you where you're able to check out your own status. So when you sign into Rotary, you can go to your own profile here, like here you see my name, and then I can go down to where it says my donations. And that should load up here in a second. So you come to this section called Donor Self-Service. You can click on this where it says Donor History Report. Click on Donor History Report again under Individual Reports. So this will be my information here. So this shows all of your information about your status here. So this shows that I'm a Bequest Society member, which I'll talk about in a second here. This shows my contribution. So this shows that I've contributed $57.32 to the annual fund, $31.45 to Polio Plus for a total of $88.77. But I have my Paul Harris Fellow recognition amount is over 10,000. That's because in addition to this 8,800, I was awarded points by somebody else or for doing something. But my actual contributions are the 88.77. But I've accrued 8,495 points, which I can use. I can use those to award Paul Harris Fellows to other people, or I could donate them to the club who might want to, recognize somebody. So as you make your contributions, you'll achieve these recognition points that are, you can see it says here, available to transfer. You can transfer those to other people or to the club to use as they see fit. The Bequest Society here, so my wife and I decided to become Bequest Society members, which basically Bequest Society members are Rotarians who have made a commitment in their estate planning to contribute something to the foundation, at least $10,000 or more. And again, that would make you a Bequest Society member. Benefactors are Rotarians who have committed to at least $1,000 or more in their estate planning to contribute to the Rotary Foundation. Up here in this section here, this shows that every Rotarian every year, that is where you've made at least a contribution in any amount to the foundation. The sustaining member is where you've achieved $100 for that current year to the foundation. And Paul Harris Society eligible is where you've achieved $1,000 for the year. So you can see last year was June 2020. That's based on, my $85 a year during the Rotary year, I reached the $1,000 level in June. So for the current year, that'll pop up in June of next year when I reach the $1,000. So that is, you know, again, you can check on your own status there. Now let me see if I can get back here. Are there any questions at this point? I want to try to get to another report to show you.
Hey, Jim, I'll just make a quick mention. I know that you weren't bringing up the club recognition summary, but I'll just give a quick overview of kind of where our club is today with all of this. So we've got 36% of 80% are donating to the Rotary Foundation. So as a club, I would like to see us at least at 50% Paul Harris Fellows and at least 100% contributing to the foundation. So that's a goal that we're working on. And all-time giving, Jim made mention of the billions of dollars that the Rotary Foundation has given to our society. Our club all-time has given $140,000, a little over $140,000. So hop on Rotary Direct. That's a great way to do it. We have one person in the club right now, Jim, that's currently using that. And it's this guy right here. It's really easy. So let us know how we can help you with that. All right. Sorry, Jim. Just wanted to share some of those stats with you guys.
No, I appreciate that. And, you know, really, one of the things that I always promote, and, you know, Evan mentioned it, is, you know, we'd like to have 100% giving. It's really amazing to me that worldwide, I think only a little over a third of Rotarians contribute to the foundation, which I find amazing because, you know, if you're a Rotarian and you know all the great things that the Rotary does around the world, I just find it hard to believe that a Rotarian wouldn't give anything, even if it was just $10, just to be a participant in the foundation and say that, you know, that they participated in all these great things that are going on around the world. So, you know, 100% participation is the immediate goal. You know, after that, you know, if people are able to, you know, get to these different levels of either a sustaining member or a Paul Harris Fellow or the Paul Harris Society, Bequest Society, you know, these other things are great, but, you know, I think 100% participation, as you mentioned, is really the primary goal. Can you see this club fundraising analysis? Am I still sharing?
Yes, we can see that.
Okay, so this is your club. Your annual fund goal. We still need to have your club president get our annual fund goal in there for the year. But the last couple of years, you know, 2,500 and 3,000, and here's the actual contribution. So, you know, your club's been around close to right around the $4,000 contribution level year for the last couple of years, just to give you an idea of where you're at. Total contributions, some of them are a little bit different, and that would be, you know, if anybody contributed to polio or to the endowment fund at the foundation, you know, that would be included in the total contribution. If you look at the annual or the average fund, annual fund per capita giving, this shows where your club is in relation to the district, so a little bit below where the district is. So again, another goal for you to shoot for to get the contribution level giving up a little bit. And then, so here's your membership, and this is showing, again, how many, every Rotarian every year, how many Rotarians have given something to the foundation. Sustaining members, so these are how many of your Rotarians in your club gave at least $100 or more. And then the Paul Harris Society eligible, that's means somebody gave at least $1,000 to the foundation in that specific Rotary year. So, you know, again, this gives you an idea of where your club happens to be, you know, at this point in time. And let me see if I can bring up the I keep losing my Rotary page here. I want to bring up the district. Well, actually, I'm probably out of time right now. I was going to bring up the district page. How do I stop my sharing here? I'm still, there we go. Thank you. I was going to bring up the district page just to show you where we are at the district level, but again, we're around $200,000 a year on average to the annual fund. We usually have about 5 or 7 clubs, again, that actually don't give anything, which is, again, surprising to me. In the Polio Plus effort, we're usually a little over $100,000 in our annual giving there, but we have one Rotarian in the district that usually gives about $75,000 a year to that effort. So that's, that person has been a huge help in getting our numbers up to where they are. But again, I think we do fairly well as a district, but we can still do a whole lot better, based on the number of Rotarians who are currently not participating with the foundation. But at this point, I'd be happy to answer any questions from anybody.
Yeah, if anyone wants to ask a question, just unmute yourself.
I just want to mention one more thing. We talked about how our foundation gives us the ability to use those funds to perform projects locally or internationally. The one thing that, we're a little bit below the bar in terms of our contributions, but we also as a club haven't really capitalized on that. So if there's a project that you think we need to take on, or projects that we're doing that we could enhance with some additional funding, we really need to start leveraging the matching district grants and the foundation grants that are available. So I think that that's an integral part of kind of helping our club get to that next level as well, actually getting involved in using those funds.
Yeah, to be eligible for the global or district grant, your club needs to average at least $35 per capita. Actually, this coming year, it's going to go up to 40, which you do. You're up around close to $70 per capita. You need to have club members attend the grant management seminar. You need to be current on your district dues and international dues. And if you have any current grants, you need to be current on the reporting for those. So it's not that difficult to qualify for it. If you want to take part in this district grant program for next year, start thinking about it now, because May 15th is the deadline to submit a grant inquiry for next year's grants. So you can't enter that inquiry now, but after the first of the year, once we start having grant management seminars and you have 2 people from your club attend a grant management seminar, then they will be able to access the grants module and get a grant application in there. So, but it's not too early to start thinking about what you might want to do next year.
Absolutely.
Jim, this is Phil Tobin here. Excuse me. Hey, Jim, this isn't so much a question, but more an endorsement of our club's practice. And I'm addressing this to all of our members of our club. The fact that our club matches 50% towards the Paul Harris membership, I think is a marvelous thing. And I'd like to see the percentage of people who are actually in the Paul Harris grow within our club by reason of that matching contribution. It's a wonderful way to do it. Evan, that's my charge to you and to the rest of the members of the club.
Absolutely. Thank you, Phil. Definitely something we're working on.
It is. It is indeed. I'd like to remind people as well that Rotary has an emergency response, and recently we've had a terrible hurricane hit in the southern states. Can you talk just a little bit about the shelter box projects?
Sure. So Shelter Box is an organization that recently became affiliated with Rotary. Rotary supported it for years, but now it has an official relationship with us, I guess. But Shelter Box provides emergency assistance where basically there is a box that is delivered that contains, I think, everything a family might need for like up to 6 months in the way of housing with a tent. There's food. There is all the equipment that they may need. I should be more prepared on that. I haven't had a question about Shelter Box for a long time, but it's an amazing project. The boxes are about $1,000 each. Your club as a project, your club might want to purchase a Shelter Box or 2. but they're delivered all around the world. Earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes, whenever there's devastation and people don't have access to their housing, it provides a tremendous emergency solution to temporary housing for people.
And it deploys rapidly.
Yeah, very rapid. Yeah,
Deploys very rapidly.
yeah. Once they know there's a problem, they get people with boots on the ground right away and get those boxes delivered to help support people.
Jim, this is Donna. Thank you for your presentation today.
Sure.
The earlier slide on the 6 causes that the Rotary Foundation supports, I'm curious because in this time of great change, even pre-2020 pandemic, to what degree have those 6 buckets evolved? I mean, if I look 20 years ago, would those 6 buckets be the same?
I don't know that I have the answer to that question. I honestly don't know. I can't answer that. I'm not sure when the foundation actually decided to come out with the areas of focus. I know within the last 10 years, they changed the grants module where they required the global grants be focused on at least one of these areas of focus, if not more. I just don't have a good answer for you.
Okay, thanks.
Do we
I
have
have a quick question. If we want to have an idea for a project, Evan, are you the one we contact to get that started?
I would have to probably defer that one to Marilyn. I think Marilyn would probably be the best person, to come with, a new project idea.
Okay.
I know in our club, I typically, clubs will have like community service chairs or somebody like that. A lot of times that person would be the one who would, initiate or monitor any projects, but, every club's different, so.
And we are a little different because we have an active foundation with our club.
Right.
Not all clubs have foundations.
Correct.
So,
Well, Jim, this is Bill Libby. I'm new to the club here in Hudson since October, but a long-term member of the Cleveland Club since 1984. Personally, there are some projects that we do individually, my wife and I do. One of them is Healing Arts Mission, and it's down in Haiti. And this is a program for fresh water. It's a mission that's set up already, run by Haitians and run by a doctor out of Ohio. We know her personally, she and her husband. Now tell me something, if that program is running and highly efficient, would Rotary consider doing something with this group?
Rotary does have a couple of organizations that they do projects with, but very limited. If from a global grant perspective,
Yes.
Rotary supports Rotary projects. It doesn't necessarily support other organizations and their projects. Now, your club could support that group if they wanted to on an individual basis. But in order to get like a grant, a global grant, I'm not sure that, we would be able just to go in and donate money to their project. It typically needs to be a project initiated by your club and another international club based on a community assessment that was done in that area. And then, the Rotary clubs would, they would be the ones looking for the vendors and contractors to do the project. So I think the answer is no, because again, typically Rotary wants to support Rotary clubs in the projects that they're doing as opposed to other organizations.
So they don't partner with other groups?
Well, they can, but
and I think the best example of that is the partnership with the World Health Organization and the Bill Gates Foundation that has formed the core of the Polio Plus program. If there is more information that you're interested in getting in regard to things dealing with the foundation, your Rotarian magazine is probably the best source. Also, the Rotary website has an ongoing discussion of things that are happening in other clubs. So there are all sorts of resources out there that can help us along this way. But our club has not been one that has actively been pursuing grants. Although we work with the cluster groups, a grouping of six other clubs surrounding us to fund a grant every year that does pull in matching funds. So we're working collaboratively with others, but honestly, we don't talk about it a whole lot within our own club even. So I think there's some areas for improvement, some of your areas to get excited about. And of course, this year, Jim, I'm not sure if you're aware that we have partnered with the EMS outreach of Hudson and the Hudson Clock Tower Club to do some fundraising to support building a 90-day stockpile of personal protective equipment. When
Awesome.
COVID hit, we were totally blindsided, you know, the Federal Reserve funds were stockpile was not very supportive, and we found that there was a definite need in our community. Not only were we doing, you know, in last year, our EMS used approximately 5 to 6 N95 masks per month, and it was now upping that to almost every day. They were going through that number. And of course, the pricing had gone up. Thus far, we've raised in excess of $25,000 in support of that. So it's something to be really quite proud of. So thank you so much for appearing with us today and sharing this vital information. It's really, really important. I'd like to remind people again that the Foundation Board will be meeting immediately following this meeting. Please just stay on the Zoom call. The Foundation Board will not be recorded. Next week, the Board of Directors of the Hudson Rotary Club will have its monthly meeting immediately following this 7:30 meeting. You know, we're starting a new month, and September brings the start of many fall activities. So this fall, think about the hiking spree within the Summit Metro Parks. Take the opportunity to try a new trail or activity and experience this beautiful weather before it turns too cold. Also, the Cuyahoga Valley Scenic Railroad is going to start up October 1st. The tickets go on sale next week. So take a look at their website. Tickets go on sale Tuesday, September 8th. We have missed the railroad this summer, and there's an opportunity to get back and to see all of the fall beauty that the Cuyahoga Valley represents. One of the things you need to know is that all seats are assigned on the railroad, so check their website for more details. And it's great to see them back. The Music of the Western Reserve begins its 38th concert season on Sunday, September 13th at 5 p.m. with the pianist Daniel Shapiro celebrating Beethoven's 25th year cycle. That, you heard me right. This is celebrating the 250th anniversary of the birth of Beethoven. All concerts this fall will be held online with a free will donation. And we'll close by looking at this day in history. And I'm going to do this in reverse order, okay? Because in support of Polio Plus, in 1960, Wilma Rudolph wins the 100-meter race in the Rome Olympics. As a child, she contracted polio at the age of 5 and wore leg braces on her weakened left ankle and foot until the age of 12. She and her mother took a 50-mile bus trip weekly to Harry Hospital in Nashville, seeking treatment from where they lived. By the age of 16, though, she was recognized as a promising track athlete and qualified for the Australian Olympics. So to go from wearing leg braces at the age of 12 to 16 qualifying for the Olympics is totally amazing. She went on to become a role model for young women of color. Eventually, she won 3 gold medals that year and became an icon to the American community, primarily because this was the first Olympics to be televised. She was beautiful and graceful and fierce. In 1945, on this day, the peace treaty between the U.S. and Japan was signed aboard the USS Missouri. Nehru became the first prime minister of India, and Ho Chi Minh declared Vietnam free and independent of France. They didn't take it so well. In 1864, General Sherman captured and burned Atlanta during the Savannah campaign. In 1666, the Great Fire of London began at 2 a.m., and before it was all over, 80% of London was burned to the ground. In 31 BC, the Battle of Actium occurred off the coast of Greece, in which the forces of Mark Antony and Cleopatra were defeated by Octavian's forces. But it effectively put the end to the Roman Republic, and Augustus Caesar became the first Roman emperor. Today's probably not going to be the best day for hiking in the valley, but hopefully tomorrow will be. Thank you for joining us today, and have a great week. Again, thank you for Phil and Tom for your courage in coming forward and speaking and sharing with us today. It was wonderful to see you. Have a great day, Rotarians. We'll see you later. We're going to take about a 2 to 3 minute break. So it's time to refill your coffee cup, and we'll let Matt LaFountain take over the meeting.